Okay, I'm going to walk you through my current arm routine, my current arm structure, and go into some of the details of why I'm training this way right now. Quick little gun check for you. So what I'm doing, well, first of all, I've got some injuries and some limitations. So the exercise variety is very restricted. For triceps, I can really only do overhead dumbbell extensions. I could probably do an overhead cable or something too if I wanted to mix it up, but I've just been rocking with a dumbbell. And I have an imbalance issue in my shoulders and everything is kind of out of alignment. Couldn't train for a long time. Kind of a topic for another video, but I've found ways where I do like an hour and a half of mobility and I loosen up all the imbalances. And if I get my shoulders into this position, I focus on my cues, I can actually push my triceps really hard. And then biceps is, I just do standing curls where I really make sure my chest is out, my shoulders are back, and I keep everything in a tight position. And as long as I do my mobility and stretching, I can get away with training my arms and make progress. So that's a little disclaimer. But what I really want to talk more about is the structure of the workout, because the exercise selection is actually not, I don't think, the most impactful thing for growth. So here's what it looks like. I do the seated dumbbell triceps extension, and then standing hammer curls. I superset the two exercises. And for the seated dumbbell triceps extensions, I end up going quite heavy. So I do, I think, 7 warm-up sets. So I'll start with the 45-pound dumbbell, and I'm just focusing on my cues. So with this exercise, you want to be really thinking about keeping your shoulders down, your elbows scooped, getting that good stretch, and just making sure everything feels good in my shoulders, everything feels good in my elbows. And I've got really in tune with all the muscles, your serratus anterior, your rhomb, all the muscles in your back, and how everything should feel to lock the movement into position where my shoulder joints and my elbow joints aren't really taking too much stress. So that's what I'm thinking about as I'm doing the warm-up sets, and that's why I do so many warm-up sets, because if you're going to consistently push with intensity, I think you really need to make sure that you shake out all the cobwebs and make sure that your joints are all moving really well before you do that. Injuries always happen when you just jump straight into it and you didn't warm up properly, because some days you didn't sleep well, some days you've been sitting in a funny position, your shoulder's out of alignment, and those are things that end up to injury, and then you miss several weeks, even months of training, and that's like one of the biggest impediments to your progress. So warm-up sets I highly recommend. So I'll do like 7 of those where I do 45 pounds, and then 55, 65, I just go up by 10. And I'm doing a lot of like dynamic shoulder mobility in between each warm-up set. So I do a warm-up set and then like I spend a minute like warming up my shoulders, warming up my wrists, stretching out my wrists, doing all these like weird fucking movements just to get everything loose and fluid. And then my working weight ends up being the 95-pound dumbbell. And I'm doing fast, explosive tempo for this first part of the workout and long rest times. So with the 95-pound dumbbell, I'm in the 20 to 25 rep range, which initially that's kind of something new. And part of the reason is I find that if you use a higher rep range, you can have more speed in your movement. And currently I've found using an explosive tempo to be an absolute game changer. Probably about 4 months ago, I stumbled onto that and I was pretty like plateaued the previous 6 months, and just changing the tempo allowed me to progress my training and up the weight consistently, which I was pretty surprised. I never would have thought ahead of time. But we'll do that with the triceps, and then I'll rest like 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll do the same thing with standing hammer curls where I'm in the 20, the hammers are a little bit lower. I think I'm in the 15 to 20 rep range for the standing hammer curls. And then I rest 2 to 3 minutes again. And I would call that one round of the superset. And then we repeat that for 4 times. And the key thing to note is that each muscle group gets like 6 minutes rest. So I do my triceps all out, max intensity, lock the cues in, controlled, but with some zip, some explosiveness, just pumping that weight. And then I rest 3 minutes roughly. And then I pick up the dumbbells and same thing. Try to keep everything locked, but I'm exploding fast, 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 fast. And then I rest another 3 minutes. So by the time I get back to another set of triceps, that muscle itself has had like 6 minutes rest. And this is the component at the beginning of the workout that I've found to be really effective for progressive overload. The combination of the fast explosive tempo and the extended rest times I've found to be very a good cocktail for leading to progress, meaning the weight continues to progress over time. And so I'll do that for 4 rounds. So triceps, biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps, biceps. So that's 4 rounds of that superset, fast, explosive, heavy weight, longer rest times. Then after that, we completely change the training style where I go into these drop sets. So I'll do the triceps first. I'm still doing the French press, the overhead dumbbell extension, but I'll grab 5 dumbbells. And for me, the weights are the 90-pound dumbbell, the 75, the 60, the 50, and the 45. And what I'm going to do now is super, super slow, controlled tempo where you really focus on that stretch. The negative, the lowering of the weight is like 3 seconds. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're really focusing on your form. Everything is super slow and controlled. And I'm doing a drop set where I grab the 90 and I get 10 to 15 controlled slow reps. I don't really care that much about the weight and the numbers at this point. The first part of the workout is more geared toward this. This part of the workout is more geared towards the burn, getting the blood in the muscle, and really being able to tolerate pain is the main theme. I do my set with the 90. I chuck that down. I immediately grab the 75. I'll just take a couple deep breaths, pop that up. Same thing. Somewhere between 8 to 12 reps. Drop that down. 55. Or what I say, 75, and then the 60, the 50, the 45. Just boom, 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 boom. That will fuck your shit up. And especially as you get down to the lower weights, it becomes a mind game of how hard can you push yourself? How much pain can you tolerate? It's not as clear. The beginning style of training where I'm like pushing that weight and I'm really focusing on the number of reps and I'm trying to improve them over time, you hit physical failure. And it's like there's no, like I'm pushing with intensity, but there's only so much like mental intensity and fortitude that you can put into it. At a certain point, your body's just like, that's all we got. That was the number. Whereas with the drop set in the lower weights and you're just fatiguing and fatiguing and fatiguing, it's like I could probably, if I went to the depths of hell, get another rep, right? So it becomes a game of pain tolerance. How much pain can you sit in? So after I do that with the triceps, I do the same thing with biceps, but I switch to the easy bar curl. And it's just easy to load the plates on and off. And I do the same structure where I'll do the first set, 10, 15 reps, drop the weight some, boom, drop the weight, boom, drop the weight, boom. And so that would be one round. And I don't rest too much. I do the set of triceps and I just rest like a minute, 2 minutes max, and I'll do the biceps drop set. And then I repeat that for 3 rounds. So then I come back and do the triceps again, and then the biceps, and the triceps, and the biceps. And that is some absurd shit that is making my arms grow. And I wouldn't recommend doing this extreme of a workout if you're completely new. I scaled up to this over time. But I just wanted to share what I'm doing and kind of share some of the thought process and the intuition behind it, and also make it clear that a lot of these methods are based on experimentation at this point. For probably the last 3 years, I've just like thrown most of the rules out the window. If I see a study or if I see somebody talking about something, I'm going to look at it and keep my mind open to it. But most of what I've found recently is just stuff that I'm like, let me try this. And then how did my body respond? And so this is what my training looks like now. And the last part I'll say is that I'm always tweaking and adjusting. I'm always adding more volume, reducing the volume, changing the rep range, changing the tempo. What should I do? Should I change this? Should I change the movement a little? Like I'm always, every couple of weeks, something changes. And that's a previous video where then I'm assessing how my body responds. But that's what my arm training looks like right now. It's an absolutely insane arm workout. If you're a bit more experienced and you want to give it a go, you know, good luck. Try it. And yeah, I've found it to be a really effective cocktail for growth. So hope you enjoyed. Maybe you learned some new things and get out there and grow your guns. Peace.